Happy Arvo. Hello. How are you guys doing? Today, I'm gonna watch this bloke right here explain why. I guess he's American. He moved to Australia and he loves it. And look at him. He's got his shoes on the bed. How crazy is that? Here in Australia, where people are barefoot at the supermarket, he's got his shoes on in the bed. That's like the flip. In Australia, you go barefoot in the supermarket and you wear your shoes in the bed.
So today, we're finally gonna talk about it.
Finally, let's do it. Oh, can I say? I mean, this is Sutton Jonah Brady. Go check out his channel down below. Linked in the description. We're finally talking about it, guys.
And I documented that process of really just my wife and I moved to Australia like 2 months ago, and I documented that process of really just my experience.
And so this was a year ago. Hopefully it's still going okay.
And what it was like to move from America to here. Now I'm living in this series of videos that I'm making about living in Australia. It's been a crazy few months, been a crazy month, and during this time,
I like how he has a Goodyear hat. Do you guys have Goodyear? I assume you do.
I have been thinking about how to continue on this whole series, but before I did, I felt like there's been this question that I haven't answered, and I've had it asked me several times. Literally, I'm not kidding. There was someone in my YouTube comments. I don't know who you are. Well, I actually do know, but one of you literally they just asked me why. Like, it was just, you didn't ask me like, why did you move to Australia? You just typed in the you typed in the comment section just why.
Who knows what that comment, there it is, there's the comment. I'm sure I've got that same comment as well. And you know, who knows what they're talking about? Maybe they're saying, why did I watch this video? Why did you make this video? Why are you wearing a Goodyear hat? Why do you have shoes on in the bed? Why are you in your kid's room? Which I am right now. But he's taking it as, why did you move to Australia? Okay.
So I figured it'd be good to answer the question of why I moved to Australia.
Guys, I love that. This is a really nice video, very beautiful and stuff. All that to say, I'm skipping ahead past that like montage.
So before I answer,
go watch the video link down below, you know what I mean?
I just wanted to
it's really
give you a quick
well
update.
made.
It's been 2 weeks since I posted my last video.
Okay.
And the reason is because Grace and I got married almost 2 years ago, 2 years this October. And before we were married, we obviously were dating. And that entire time of dating and marriage, I never met her brother. I met one of her brothers earlier this year.
I'm skipping the update, guys. Go watch this video for the
update. Hang out
update.
with and meet Grace's brother, which is really cool. Jonah, if you're watching, thanks for having me over at your.
This part is just called, I like when people add chapters. Maybe I need to do that. But this chapter is called Kangaroos. That's why he moved for the kangaroo. That's a good reason.
House. Something happened on that trip.
And to eat kangaroos. Can I just say, and I'm so sorry, like, am I ever going to actually react to this video? Can I just say, finding kangaroo meat here in America, I'm trying to eat a kangaroo, guys. Finding kangaroo meat here in America, not easy. I'm not even sure if it's legal. The websites are pretty sketchy, but I'm trying. It's going to cost me like $50.
That is pretty monumental for my YouTube channel because I've made a video about this in the past. If you haven't watched my video about me looking for a kangaroo and talking about how I've never seen one, that's right here. But
that would be a funny video. Dude, if I ever go to Australia, I'm just going to make a video trying to find a kangaroo.
Saw my first kangaroo. I lived here for 2 months and still hadn't seen a kangaroo. So we go out and we are driving up into the hills in Adelaide, and he's just driving us around and he's determined to find a kangaroo. We're like determined to go find a kangaroo so I can finally see one. I live in Sydney, so it's pretty impossible to see a kangaroo, I think, in Sydney, maybe on the outskirts. If you're from Sydney, where's the spot to see a kangaroo? Let me know. Yeah.
I'm guessing it's kind of like deer here in America. Like, you're not going to see a deer just every day. You're going to see it like twice a year. Like, oh, hey, there's a deer.
We were driving up the hills Went down this really like gravelly road. It was so beautiful, like so green. And we go down this path and we look over, and I'm not kidding, it was like Jonah had seen them already, but I hadn't seen them yet. But these like almost camouflaged into the background gray kangaroos were just hanging out there. I'm gonna put that video right here.
Oh, we
This is
got
the first
video.
time I ever saw a kangaroo.
Dope.
And my second, because there's two of them right there. Yeah, it was amazing, and we just kind of drove and got to see them. If you're Australian and you don't understand why it's like a significant thing for us, obviously it's because we've never seen one, but it's also just like, how often do you see a two-legged animal that stands and kind of leans on its back tail like that? It's just such a unique animal for us. Like in North America, we have
And I mean, they don't just lean on their back tail. They can stand on it and kick you. They can disembowel you, as I've learned.
nothing like that at all. Anyway, so I got to see them. But on the way back on our trip, we were driving out like early in the morning, and my wife Grace was driving, and this right here happened. I'm gonna put a video of my third sighting of a kangaroo.
Oh, shoot.
Yes.
He almost made himself some kangaroo meat right here. Almost made some kangaroo sausage.
Yeah, so that's pretty scary that we were driving. It was like 6 a.m. The sun's
I don't even know how does kangaroo meat even get to America? I guess you gotta freeze it. Hopefully it's still good.
coming over the horizon, and we're driving through really thin, really fast roads to Sydney. Out of the corner of her eye, she sees something hopping, and she sees a kangaroo coming across, slows down from 110 kilometers per hour to,
I forgot we were talking about kilometers per hour for a second.
I think like 40, and basically just saved us from hitting a kangaroo. And that was my third time seeing a kangaroo, so that was pretty scary. I was actually asleep in the passenger side, and I was fully like knocked out with I had a beanie over my eyes, and I just feel the car like come to a dead slam, and I look up and there's a kangaroo
I find it funny. I mean, I'm loving the video, but it's just funny to me that I'm looking for why he moved to Australia. Like, that's what I'm waiting on, and we're past halfway. And it's like, we're talking about a kangaroo story, which is great. Love kangaroos.
hopping in front of me. And yeah, so luckily that wasn't my first time seeing one, but also luckily my third one wasn't one that I hit. I've been getting a lot of questions about us moving to Australia and why we did. And before I tell you why
Here we
I
go.
did, I think there's a lot of reasons why someone would move to Sydney and why someone would move to Australia in general. A lot of people have been kind of saying what they think is the reason why we moved. Like, are we moving because we wanted to get out of America? Are we moving just to enjoy Sydney?
I feel like if you're trying to get out of America, going to Australia, I guess it would depend on the exact reason. Basically, what I'm saying is Australia and America are somewhat similar. They're not like the most different places. Like, if you're like, I am sick of these people and this type of, like, I don't know, like you'd go to Japan or something. I mean, you wouldn't be able to speak the language probably, but anyway. I mean, I guess if you're sick of like the work culture and, you know, obviously Australia is way more beautiful and it's different in a lot of other ways. I just feel like politically and there's some ways that Australia is very similar. Some ways it's very different. Am I making any sense? Not really.
Moving here to get like free health insurance. Yeah, I think there's just a lot of curiosity around this
I feel like you can't just move there and get. I feel they probably make that difficult, don't
question. So yeah, which one of these is that answer? And honestly, it's none of these. When Grace and I got married, we knew that it was going to be pretty decisive, pretty quick. Like we were going to need to make some decisions about where we needed to be. You know, do we want to live in Australia or America? So we were making those decisions right before I
Wait, is she from Australia?
asked Grace to marry me. I actually sold my car, sold it to buy her an engagement ring, bought the engagement ring, and
Oh,
our
man.
plans were to kind of like stick around college, maybe get a job at the college, and then kind of work our way into our respective careers. And COVID hit. Literally, our last semester, in March of our last semester at college, we both had to decide whether we were going to go to Australia or go to America, and we weren't even.
This is fascinating to me because it's just like that is such a crazy decision to make, and what even prompted? Like, all right, are we gonna live in we live in America? Are we gonna live here or Australia? Like, how did you even come up with that question? That never even dawned on me as being an option when I was in college.
Engaged at this point. What we did is I called my parents and she called her parents, and we just talked all through it. And we ended up deciding to come to North Carolina, where I'm from and where my family is. And we spent 2 years there. And it was great. It was an amazing, amazing time. I got to start out my career, and Grace got to be around my family. We got to spend time with my family a lot over those last 2 years. But something that started to kind of develop in those 2 years was obviously Grace missing her family.
She's from Australia. I got it, guys. I got it.
And it wasn't that we chose to like live away from them. It's that we were kind of forced to live away from them. So we had intended on me meeting her family before we got married and then having them at our wedding. None of that happened. We had to have our wedding in quarantine. And yeah, it just became really
Me too.
apparent over the last 2 years, especially the last year, that Grace wanted to be around her family. As we were kind of deciding through that, as we were thinking.
That's rough. That's tough. Because it's not like you're just, oh, let's go live by your family. We can still visit my family every couple months. Like, no. Going across the world.
Through that. And it was right around then that an organization that Grace's parents work for actually wanted to open up a coffee shop, cafe in Sydney, literally in the inner west in Sydney. And so we talked to them about it, and we liked the idea. We liked the vision. We liked all that they wanted to do. We loved the organization and what they...
Was the organization called Starbucks? If so, don't get involved, bro. Don't get involved. That's not going to work.
Stood for. And so back, it must have been in a year and some change ago, we decided that we were going to come on to this organization, come to Australia and open
What's the
a coffee
organization?
shop or cafe in Sydney. So that's the reason we moved here. The reason we moved here is to open up this coffee shop or this cafe, whichever one you call it, in Sydney, in the inner west. And so that's what we're doing. So I'm not a YouTuber, obviously. I don't have that many subs, but this is what I'm doing. Me and Grace are partnering and opening up a coffee shop under this organization in the inner west.
This, guys, can I just say, when I first clicked on this video, this was not the answer I was expecting. Why an American moved to Australia and loves it? I was thinking the answer would be, he wanted to surf, he loved the culture, loved the wildlife, wanted to explore. No, this man's trying to open a coffee shop in Sydney, and his wife is Australian.
And so I'm gonna maybe document.
This video threw me for a complete loop. Can I just say? I'm sure it threw everybody for a loop. Like, you guys. Which I kind of find, I don't know, it's kind of funny. I mean, I watched a fun kangaroo video, heard some kangaroo stories, and he's opening a coffee shop. It's just not what I'm
gonna bring you in
was expecting.
On that journey. We've never done a business before. And so yeah, we're gonna bring you along in that journey. Before I end this video,
I'm interested. I'm like, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm invested now in the coffee shop. How's the coffee shop doing?
life has a way of changing.
Like, have you guys been to this coffee shop? Have you seen this guy behind the bar at the coffee shop in Sydney? Anybody from Sydney? These are kind of fun videos, like moving to Sydney, furnishing our apartment. Go check out his channel. This is a cool channel. Oh, look at that. Starbucks failed. Yep. Tried to warn you. I'm curious about if his coffee shop is still doing good. Anyway. Happy Arvo, guys. I'll see you tomorrow for This Week in Australia, okay? Be there. I hope. Goodbye.